You step outside, coffee in hand. The air still has that cool gray softness that belongs only to early morning. It's just past 7, and you're expecting the sparrows bickering in the hedge, the cicadas waking up, maybe the faint rustle of something moving through the grass. But there's nothing, not a single sound, and for a second you probably just assume it's one of those rare, calm mornings. You take a slow breath. Maybe you even enjoy it. You think, how peaceful. But here's what's actually happening. You just walked into a room where everyone stopped talking the moment you opened the door. That silence isn't peace. It isn't an absence of life. That silence is a broadcast, and every living thing in that garden just transmitted the same message at the exact same time. Something's here. Something's moving. Pay attention. And that something is you. We spend our whole lives treating wildlife like it's just background noise. The birds are decoration. The squirrels are, I don't know, just entertainment. The crickets are like a sound machine we didn't even buy. But here's where it gets interesting. What if they're not the background? What if you are? When your garden falls completely silent, you aren't witnessing a lack of life. You're witnessing a coordinated state of high alert observation happening in milliseconds across different species, without a single signal you can even detect. Think about that. Dozens of animals, different species, no shared language, and yet every one of them goes quiet at the same time, together, all because of you. That's not an accident. That is intelligence. And understanding what's actually happening in those silent moments, it changes how you'll ever look at your own backyard again. Think about this for a second. How long have you lived in your home? A year? 5? Maybe 10? To the birds in your garden, you aren't a stranger. You're a recurring, predictable event like a weather pattern they've memorized just to survive. They've been studying you since the very first morning you walked outside, and they haven't stopped. They know when your back door opens. They've clocked the rhythm of your footsteps, whether you walk slow, whether you drag your feet, or whether your stride changes when you're carrying something. They know which path you take to your car. They even know which days you come outside and immediately go back in, and which days you choose to linger. This isn't just a guess. Research on garden birds especially, corvids and some songbirds, shows that they actively track our movement patterns and use that data to change their own behavior. They build what behaviorists call an expectation model. Essentially, you have a profile. That silence, that's the sound of your presence being checked against their file in real time. They're comparing you today against everything they've already logged. Is this the same walk? Same energy? Same pace? If anything feels off any deviation at all, they just go still. They wait. They watch until they're sure. But here's the part nobody really talks about. They aren't just recognizing a human. They're recognizing you. And that's a massive distinction. We've seen studies on crows, magpies, and even mockingbirds that show these birds can pick out individual faces. They aren't just lumping all of us into threat or safe. They know this person, and they know that person. Each one gets their own file. I've seen birds sound the alarm when one specific person walks into a yard while completely ignoring the neighbor. That bird learned to associate that exact human with trouble. And here's the crazy part. That information doesn't just reset. It gets passed down, sometimes even to their own chicks. So when you walk outside and the garden suddenly goes quiet, that silence is about you. Not people in general, not strangers. You. They're verifying your identity. You're in their system. And that moment of stillness, that little pause before the robin finally hops back onto the fence, that's just the gap between them recognizing you and clearing you. But it actually gets more interesting. It goes way deeper than just pattern recognition. Animals aren't just tracking what you do, they're reading who you are in that exact moment. Think about your biological noise. Your tension, your posture, those tiny shifts in how you move when you're stressed, those are all signals, and they're broadcasting to everything around you. When you step outside with a cluttered or anxious mind, your body moves differently. You can't feel it, but they absolutely can. Your movements aren't as fluid. Your rhythm is a little off. There's a specific kind of tightness in how you hold your weight. They can see it all. Here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. A lot of prey species, from the smallest birds to ground squirrels, are incredibly sensitive to tension. They're basically experts at reading the predator-level vibes coming off any large animal. And, well, from their perspective, you're a giant. When your behavior shifts or your body language changes just a little bit, their alarm systems go off instantly. The garden doesn't just go quiet because you stepped into it. It goes quiet because you changed, and they picked up on that shift before you even realize you were feeling it. Think about that the next time you walk outside feeling stressed or heavy. The birds already know. They went still before you even exhaled. Now, try flipping that around for a second. We tend to think of our gardens as property, just some space we own, mow, and hang out in. But from the other side of that relationship, your garden is something else entirely. It's a complex, multi-dimensional survival map. Every tree is a landmark. Every fence post, that's a data point. Even the shadows mean something. That messy, overgrown corner under the shed isn't just an eyesore to them. It's a refuge with specific entry and exit points. That bird feeder? That's a resource they've already run a risk assessment on. And you're one of the biggest variables on their map. When you stand still, you're just a static object they can work around. They know exactly where you are, and that knowledge actually makes them feel safe. But the moment you move unpredictably, you become an active threat, an unknown. You're a total disruption to every calculation they've made. That silence you hear? It's not them hiding from you. It's them recalculating because of you. Whether you mean to or not, you're one of the most important elements in their world. You just didn't realize you were on the map. And let's talk about what that silence is actually doing. When your garden goes dead quiet, it's not just the animals right next to you that stop moving. It's the whole network. The silence spreads, alarm calls get cut short. Everything freezes mid-action, and this ripple of stillness travels way further than you can even see. And in that quiet, the garden's entire detection system kicks into gear. By cutting out their own noise, they gain something pretty extraordinary: perfect auditory clarity. Now, they can hear a hawk circling 3 streets over. They can hear the cat that hasn't even turned the corner yet. They can hear a rustle in a hedge that doesn't sound like the wind. You just stepped outside, maybe with your coffee, in your slippers, still half asleep, and without even knowing it, you triggered a security sweep of the entire local ecosystem. Every antenna went up, every eye sharpened, every ear opened. You set the whole system into motion. You were the only one in the garden who didn't know it. So the next time you step outside into that heavy, heavy silence, don't feel lonely in it. Seriously? Don't feel like the world's just gone empty, and definitely don't mistake that quiet for absence. Instead, just think about what you're actually standing in. You're basically in a theater. The audience is already seated. They've been watching you since before you even opened the door. And honestly, they're going to keep watching long after you go back inside. You're the protagonist of a drama that plays out every single day right there in your own backyard, a story built on patterns, memory, instinct, and raw intelligence. It's all just there, quietly orbiting around you. That silence, it isn't the world going still. It's the world paying close attention. And now you are too. I have to ask you something, and I really want to know the answer. After hearing all of this, has a specific moment come to mind? Maybe a time when you stepped into a space and the whole world just stopped? When the air felt different and you got that weird, quiet sense that you were being watched? Tell me about it in the comments. I really want to hear, because I have a feeling that a lot more of us have felt that exact moment than we realize. Most of us just walked right past it without ever knowing what it actually meant. Now you know.